欢迎来到本期的 CLIPP 高分词汇解析。Welcome to today's CELPP High Score Vocabulary Explainer. I'm your host, and today we are executing an absolute zero-emission masterclass. We're going to cover exactly 60 advanced terms, literally meticulously drawn from our source material, designed to instantly upgrade your speaking and writing scores. So grab a pen, make sure you're focused because we're moving fast.
Okay, let's dive right into this agenda. We're going to move logically from macro societal themes in Part 1, down into the micro workplace in Part 2, and finally, we'll head out into our physical environment for Part 3.
All right, Section 1, Society and Public Policy. Now, these terms, they're an absolute must-have toolkit for scoring high on your CLP Task 2 writing anytime you're discussing societal issues.
Well, let's get right into the words. Multiculturalism,多元文化主义. In your essay, you can write about how progressive cities embrace multiculturalism to thrive, focusing on 多元文化. Next up, social cohesion, 社会凝聚力. You can highlight how local community programs build social cohesion, strengthening that 凝聚力. Then we have demographic shift, 人口结构转变. You might discuss a rapid demographic shift affecting public schools, tracking the 人口结构. And finally, for this group, marginalization, 边缘化. Ensure you mention how vulnerable communities suffer from marginalization, feeling severely 边缘化.
Now, what's really interesting about this next set is how perfectly the phrase allocation of resources actually pairs with public infrastructure in your speaking responses. Let's look at them. Egalitarian society, 平等主义社会. We must strive for an egalitarian society where opportunities are level, a true 平等社会. Next, public infrastructure, 公共基础建设建. Governments should heavily invest in public infrastructure, the core 基础建设建. Moving on to civic engagement, 公民参与. Local councils always aim to promote civic engagement, actively encouraging 公民参与. And that brings us to allocation of resources, 资源分配. Your argument can center on the fair allocation of resources to neighborhoods, ensuring just 资源分配.
Transitioning a bit into social welfare, let's look at income disparity. 收入差距. Warning against policies that widen the income disparity is a powerful point, focusing on the 收入差距. Next is welfare state. 福利国家. Many citizens rely on the welfare state during economic hardships, needing the 福利. Then, disadvantaged groups, 弱势群体. We must create robust programs to support disadvantaged groups, directly helping the 弱势群体.
So, the really crucial point here is how these next three terms form just a perfect problem and solution narrative for literally any celpip question about aiding communities. Check this out. Philanthropic initiatives. 慈善倡议. Successful businesses should launch philanthropic initiatives, leading local 慈善 efforts. Next, eradicate poverty. 根除贫困. The overarching goal of these programs is to aim to eradicate poverty, working to permanently 根除it. And then we have fostering inclusivity. 促进包容性. Workplaces and schools must be dedicated to fostering inclusivity, truly 促进包容 across the board.
Moving right along, grassroots movement. 草根运动 or 民间运动. Remember that a strong grassroots movement can effectively change local laws, driven entirely by the 民间. On the flip side, bureaucratic inefficiency. 行政效率低下. In stark contrast, bureaucratic inefficiency slows down any real progress, characterized by rigid 效率低下. And our third term here is mitigate social issues. 缓解社会问题. Ultimately, progressive policies aim to mitigate social issues, actively working to 缓解 the negative impacts.
All right, wrapping up our societal section, we have cultural assimilation. 文化同化. You can debate whether new immigrants face cultural assimilation, dealing with the pressures of 文化同化. Next up, paradigm shift. 范式转移 or 根本性变革. The transition to digital learning caused a paradigm shift in education, a true 根本性变革. And lastly for this section, implement legislation. 实施立法. Governments must implement legislation to enforce these new standards, which, by the way, is a perfect concluding thought for Task 2 using 实施立法.
Okay, take a quick mental breather, because we are moving into Section 2, Economy and Workplace. This vocabulary is absolutely essential for celpip Task 5 speaking scenarios, especially when you need to weigh career or business choices.
Let's jump right in and see how this builds your professional vocabulary. Remuneration, 报酬 or 酬金. When comparing job offers on the exam, you should prioritize competitive remuneration, meaning fair 报酬. Next, corporate social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility, or CSR, 企业社会责任. Modern companies must prioritize CSR to maintain public trust, fulfilling their 社会责任. And then, economic recession, or downturn. Economic recession, 经济衰退或低迷. Businesses need strong strategies to survive an economic recession, navigating the tricky 经济衰退.
Keeping our rhythm steady, let's move on to financial pressures. Inflationary pressure. Inflationary pressure. 通胀压力. Discuss how average families currently face inflationary pressure, feeling the squeeze of 通胀. Next is lucrative opportunity. Lucrative opportunity. 获利丰厚的机会. Changing your career path might allow you to seize a lucrative opportunity, finding a highly 获利丰厚 role. Contrast that with stagnant wages. Stagnant wages, 停滞不前的工资. On the flip side, employees often express frustration over stagnant wages, dealing with frustratingly 停滞不前 paychecks.
All right, next up, occupational hazard. Occupational hazard, 职业危害. Companies must implement strict safety gear to reduce occupational hazards, minimizing dangerous 职业危害. Then we have work-life integration. Work-life integration, 工作生活融合. Now, this is kind of the modern evolution of work-life balance. Tell the examiner you want to achieve work-life integration, mastering seamless 生活融合. Lastly here, entrepreneurial endeavor. Entrepreneurial endeavor, 创业努力 or 尝试. Rather than a standard job, you might want to fund an entrepreneurial endeavor, starting a bold 创业 journey.
And this next slide brilliantly illustrates the primary divide in the modern workforce. Blue-collar workforce. Blue-collar workforce. 蓝领劳动力. Use this specific term to describe manual or industrial labor, the essential 蓝领 workers. White-collar workforce. White-collar workforce. 白领劳动力. Conversely, use this to describe office or administrative roles, categorizing the 白领 sector perfectly in your speaking tasks.
Moving right along, here are 4 heavy-hitting corporate terms. Fiduciary duty. Fiduciary duty, 受托责任 or 信契义务. Executives who act corruptly commit a breach of fiduciary duty, violating their 信契义务. Next, monopoly. Monopoly, 垄断. Sometimes the government must step in to break up a monopoly, dismantling the unfair 垄断. Then, subsidize. Subsidize, 资助 or 补贴. The city council might decide to heavily subsidize public transit, providing a necessary 补贴. And career trajectory. Career trajectory, 职业轨迹. Constant upskilling ensures an upward career trajectory, significantly boosting your 职业轨迹.
Let's keep this momentum going. Merit-based promotion. Merit-based promotion, 凭功绩晋升. Ambitious employees advocate for merit-based promotion, valuing fair 凭功绩 systems. Next is gig economy. Gig economy, 零工经济. Listen closely to this one. It's a highly trending topic in current CELPI exams. You can discuss how freelancers thrive in the gig economy, navigating the modern 零工经济. Finally, remote collaboration. Remote collaboration, 远程协作. Post-pandemic, literally every firm needs tools for remote collaboration, enabling seamless 远程 teamwork.
Finishing up our workplace block now. Optimize productivity. Optimize productivity, 优化生产力. Implementing new software helps to optimize productivity, maximizing overall 生产力. Next, fiscal policy. Fiscal policy, 财政政策. The National Bank will soon announce a new fiscal policy, directly managing national 财政 matters. And our last one here is supply chain disruption. Supply chain disruption, 供应链中断.
Global events easily cause a massive supply chain disruption, leading to severe 中断 in the flow of goods.
Okay, Section 3, Environment and Urban Planning. You know, environmental topics are incredibly common on the celpip, and these final 20 words, they're going to give you the ultimate edge. Let's do this.
Jumping right back into our rhythm. Sustainable development. Sustainable development. 可持续发展. City planners must always promote sustainable development, ensuring long-term growth is 可持续. Next, carbon footprint. Carbon footprint. 碳足迹. On a personal level, we must all reduce our carbon footprint, minimizing our individual 碳足迹. Then, ecological degradation. Ecological degradation. 生态退化. Strict conservation laws are required to halt ecological degradation, stopping dangerous 生态退化. Finally, urban sprawl. Urban sprawl. 城市扩张 or 蔓延. Smart zoning laws are absolutely vital to control urban sprawl, actively managing outwards 城市扩张.
So the crucial point here is noticing how seamlessly these 4 urban planning terms link together, especially for a Task 7 speaking response. Let's check them out. Renewable energy incentives. Renewable energy incentives. 可再生能源激励措施. Government should offer renewable energy incentives, providing financial 激励措施 for green building. Next, waste management. Waste management. 废物管理. Growing cities urgently need to improve waste management, overhauling their 废物管理 facilities. Then, traffic congestion. Traffic congestion. 交通拥堵. Building new highways is an attempt to ease traffic congestion, reducing the daily urban 拥堵. And commuter transit system. Commuter transit system. 通勤运输系统. Even better, cities should upgrade the commuter transit system, modernizing mass 通勤 options.
Moving on to some challenging ecological phrases. Greenhouse gas emissions. Greenhouse gas emissions. 温室气体排放. Heavy industries must dramatically cut greenhouse gas emissions, lowering harmful 温室气体. Next, depletion of natural resources. Depletion of natural resources. 自然资源枯竭. We have to implement policies to prevent the depletion of natural resources, halting rapid 资源枯竭. And biodegradable materials. Biodegradable materials. 可生物降解材料. Packaging manufacturers must switch to biodegradable materials, utilizing safe, 可降解 plastics.
Keep the energy high, guys. We are almost at the finish line. Revitalize neighborhoods. Revitalize neighborhoods. 社区复兴. Public art projects can beautifully revitalize older neighborhoods, sparking a true 社区复兴. Next, pedestrian-friendly zones. Pedestrian-friendly zones. 行人友好区. Forward-thinking urban planners design pedestrian-friendly zones, creating safe, car-free 行人 areas. Then, affordable housing crisis. Affordable housing crisis. 经济社区房屋危. Local mayors are under immense pressure to tackle the affordable housing crisis, solving the dire 住房危机.
Almost there. Green space preservation. Green space preservation. 绿地保护. The Parks Department prioritizes green space preservation, guaranteeing essential 绿地保护 for future generations. Next up, environmental stewardship. Environmental stewardship. 环境管理责任. Now, using this exact phrase demonstrates a highly advanced vocabulary range to the celpip graders. You can discuss how corporations must show environmental stewardship, proving their 环境管理 commitment. And imposing carbon taxes. Imposing carbon taxes. 征收碳税. One aggressive economic solution is imposing carbon taxes on heavy polluters, focusing heavily on 征收 fees. Okay, let's lock in our final 3 terms to conclude our 60-word mandate. Mitigate climate change. Mitigate climate change. 减缓气候变化. All these aforementioned steps help to mitigate climate change, taking action to 减缓 global warming. Next, zoning regulations. Zoning regulations? 选址风区规定. City councils constantly update zoning regulations for new commercial developments, carefully setting the 分区 rules. And our final term, energy-efficient architecture. Energy-efficient architecture? 节能建筑. Modern builders must utilize energy-efficient architecture, constructing certified 节能 buildings that protect the environment.
We did it! 60 advanced, highly targeted terms broken down perfectly for your exam. So, what does this all mean for you? Well, which of these 60 terms will you use to upgrade your next celpip essay? 你将在下次 celpip 写作中使用这60个词汇中的哪几个? Take a screenshot of your favorites, review the exact Chinese anchors, and actively force yourself to use them in your practice writing today. Thank you so much for joining this Masterclass Explainer. Stay focused, stay organized, and go ace that exam.